Today we're talking about the most successful hotel that Disney has ever come up with, the Galactic Starcruiser. Now I know what you guys are going to probably be saying, okay, ha ha ha, you're being funny. Yes, I am. It's a complete joke because it is not the most successful hotel that Disney has ever come up with. Because to me, as a Star Wars fan, I think that the Galactic Starcruiser, as crazy as it may seem, I do think it's a good idea. The problem is the execution. I think they executed it badly. Unfortunately, they executed the whole freaking hotel, the idea of it, badly. But I think what is drowning it, what is causing it to fail, are three very simple factors. Let's start off with the elephant in the room. Obviously, the price is atrocious. I'm talking about literally. It is more expensive to go to this Star Wars hotel than it is to go on an actual cruise. And what I find weird is that on an actual cruise, you are actually at risk at sea. And this isn't a hotel that's at sea. It's a hotel that literally is on land, and it's inside a box. And honestly, there is nothing in this experience that makes the price worth it. And I think that the solution has to be something very simple. And what exactly is the solution that I'm talking about? I think that the solution in this case would mean that the hotel would have to offer us something a little bit more. So for $5,000, which is how much the experience really is, and then adding on top of it tips and all that, I think for $5,000, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for Disney to give us something that is worth that much. So the experience itself for the 2 days of staying at the hotel, I understand. If you want to charge $1,000 for a family of 4, I get it. But if you want to charge $5,000, give me a lightsaber. Give my family lightsabers. Give my family droids. Let's have missions to Galaxy's Edge where you can actually go after certain items that you get to keep for your vacation as like souvenirs. And on top of that, I think that they should give us clothing. I think it would be super cool if you showed up to Galaxy's Edge and you go into this sort of like tailor-made process where they actually ask you, how would you like your clothing? And then you customize it and you make your own clothing for you to wear on the cruise. I think that would be worth it. Those are just things that you can add to the value that you are paying, because $5,000 and not getting anything in return is kind of a loss for the people who are actually paying that much. And I don't know too many people who have that kind of money in their bank account to just spend on a vacation like that. So the second problem I see with the Galactic Starcruiser is that it kind of doesn't feel like Star Wars. You go into the Galactic Starcruiser, it's perfectly clean, it's got all this, design aspect to it, and it's got this very beautiful aesthetic. I get it. It's supposed to feel like the casino scene from The Last Jedi. It's supposed to be that super clean kind of thing, and I don't think that that's really Star Wars. When people think of Star Wars, they think of Mos Eisley Cantina. They think of, the Empire. They think of very dirty and mucky feeling materials, and they think of weathered down items. That's what they think of Star Wars. Star Wars has like this living, breathing atmosphere. So when you walk into something like the Galactic Starcruiser, you expect to see something worn down, something used, seeing some sort of level of detail that most people wouldn't recognize unless if you're an actual fan of Star Wars. And I think personally, in my opinion, this is a really big issue because people are supposed to make the experience feel lived in. I think that the Galactic Starcruiser, as clean as it looks, it doesn't really feel like Star Wars. It feels like something else. I feel like when I think of like super clean aesthetic, this sort of like super pristine-esque feel, whenever I think of that, I think of Star Trek. As a matter of fact, I really think that Star Trek would benefit more from a Galactic Starcruiser experience than Star Wars, because so far, I'm not seeing the benefit of it, being that it's not really the Star Wars aesthetic. And sure, you can add people into the experience that would better the experience. Sure, you can have Kylo Ren, you can have Rey, you can have Chewbacca, you can have all these characters in this experience. Sure, but does it feel like Star Wars? I mean, the perfect example is that you can literally walk off the ship and go into Galaxy's Edge, which, by the way, feels like Star Wars. It does feel like Star Wars. Then you walk into the Galactic Starcruiser, and it doesn't feel like Star Wars. I mean, I think that's part of the problem. And the third and final point I want to get to here, and I feel like this one is a bit of like on shaky ground, but I believe that the reason why not a lot of people are going back to the Galactic Starcruiser or going at all is mainly because of a fan base. And what do I mean about that? Star Wars isn't something that is for everybody, and I'm willing to recognize it. As a fan of Star Wars, I understand that there are people out there who don't like Star Wars. There are people who say they like Star Wars, but don't like Star Wars. There are people who do like Star Wars, but have not liked anything that has come out recently. So I feel like a lot of people are hesitant to go and spend this large amount of money on an experience that doesn't feel like the original Star Wars that they remember. And most people would probably agree with that because, let's be honest, a lot of people have criticized the sequel trilogy. But if we were following on that logic, people have also criticized the original trilogy. And now looking back on it, I do think that people appreciate the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy more than they do the sequel trilogy. And I really do think that people who aren't going to it or not revisiting it mainly comes down to those three factors. And honestly, if Disney were to increase the value of the stay, meaning if you pay the $5,000, you get tickets to the parks, you get access to droids, you get access to lightsabers, and that's per family member, and clothing on top of that, I think that it would be worth it. I really do think that is where it draws the line. I feel like right now the value that they have it at is extremely low, and people aren't going because of that. They're not feeling the value that they're supposed to feel from something like Star Wars. And now we have to kind of wait and see when they're going to change this experience. Because, you know, honestly, it had a botched beginning, and honestly, like, it looked super cheap. Like, the first few images of this, it looked super cheap. It didn't feel like an exclusive experience. And then, like, more recently, they actually bumped up the marketings to make it look super cool. And by the way, if you look at the more recent videos that they've come out with for the Galactic Starcruiser, it looks awesome. They made it look like a freaking movie. And honestly, that alone gets people excited. But everything else kind of, you know, falls in shorthand. So yeah, I do believe that Disney needs to change this. And once they do, I feel like the attendance is going to go up and people are going to want to go and visit the Galactic Starcruiser. And having said all of that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it when you guys watch videos on my channel. And while you are here, go ahead and go down in the comments down below and tell me, have you gone to the Galactic Starcruiser? Have you enjoyed your stay at the Galactic Starcruiser? Maybe you didn't, maybe you did. Tell me what you guys think. And while you're down there, go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit the bell because you want to be notified when videos go up. And hint, hint, that is every single day on this channel. So please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.